Howdy, guys, and welcome to Survivor Season 41 and a recap of Episode 3. And welcome to Cliff Notes from somewhere off the island itself. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Man, I got to say, maybe it's just because this season is only, 26 days or so, but it seems like every one of these episodes, we've got so much going on to talk about. So, with that being said, let's get right into it and talk about what happened this evening. Now, first of all, as a real quick refresher from last week, we lost David from the Yase tribe last week. So the yellow tribe Yase is only down to four castaways. They're not looking real good right now. I hated to see David gone. I had mentioned preseason. I thought he's going to be a train wreck. I thought he's going to play a little too hard, a little too arrogant. But I still hated to see him go. And it turns out I think he was a much better player than I had even predicted. But we lost David. So we've now lost three castaways so far, and Yase again is not looking real strong with only four players. Xander's the one male left on the tribe, and then we've got the three women as well. And with that being said, let's get right into it and talk about the Yase tribe. As the episode opens up, we see Liana talking about how much she wanted to make the big move and get Xander out of the tribe last week. He's got the extra power, the one part of the three-way immunity idol that Liana knows about. She wanted to get him out, but she just couldn't make it happen. Tiffany was so worried that he maybe had something else hidden, so they send David out instead. And Liana is really feeling like she missed out on an opportunity to make the big move. But I think flexibility is important in the Survivor game, and getting the other two women of that tribe together. So you've got a force of three working together tightly. I think that is much more important than whether you actually got Xander out as opposed to David last week. So I think Liana's looking good, but she's a little stressed out talking about that. And what's funny, right after she gives this little confessional, we see Liana at the campfire sometime in the middle of the night. She's stoking the fire and such. And right next to her on a rock around the campfire is some kind of little Survivor advantage envelope. And she misses it. She doesn't see it at all. She misses it. But Tiffany doesn't miss it the next morning. We quickly get a cut to the next morning. Everyone's getting up. Tiffany has found the special little advantage. Now, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's the second part of this three-way immunity idol that Xander already has. But no, it turns out it's a little bit different. Tiffany has discovered it. Unfortunately for her, she's discovered it with Evie and Liana both there as well. So she kind of has to share the news with them. It's one of those where if you take it, you got to do whatever is contained within. Well, we know that she's gonna open it up, and she does. Now, I thought it was funny. We see immunity idols hidden all over the islands at times, sometimes pretty hard, sometimes not so hard. I've never seen an advantage hidden in such plain view as set on a rock right next to the fire. And my first thought was, man, these producers are getting desperate for some other people to find that three-way immunity idol. Well, it turns out it's a whole different advantage that we hadn't even heard about before. So what is the advantage? She opens it up again. She opens up in front of Liana and who else am I missing? Liana and Evie. What she has to do, Tiffany has to sneak out on a boat that evening to go to another island, make a decision. We don't know what it is, but she has to make some kind of decision. If for some reason she chooses not to get on the boat, she loses her vote at the next tribal council. So she doesn't really have a choice but to go. So we know that Tiffany's getting ready to go out on a little adventure for the evening. Switch tribes. Let's go over to Yua tribe, which is the green tribe. Over the Yua tribe, we've got JD and Jeannie and the rest of the tribe. Everyone except for Brad is talking on the beach. Now, Brad has woken up and he's decided that doing chores at camp is a little bit more important than just going out lounging and chilling on the beach. No, I get it. In the real world, I can see exactly how you'd rather be a hard worker, get things done, recognize the credit for doing that, as opposed to getting out and talking to people. But the reality is, in Survivor, you've got to develop the relationships with the tribe, and you don't do that if they're down on the beach and you aren't. That goes back to season number 1. Susan Hawk and some others saying, oh, we got to work hard, we got to build camp and all that. and Richard Hatch saying, yeah, I think the strategy is a little different. I'm just going to sit here. He had it figured out way back then. Brad doesn't quite get it this season because he's busy working the camp while everyone else is down talking about him a little bit, it seems like. But he's got to develop the relationships, especially because he's a little bit older, a bit older than everyone else in that tribe. And so he needs to be working on a little bit. But he doesn't do it. He stays at camp. Now, in this particular situation, it pays off for him because just as in the Yase tribe where the advantage was hidden in fairly plain view, well, Brad finds an advantage as well. It's down by his feet in the sand. He finds it. Same clue. He accepts it. He's going to get on a boat in the middle of the night. Now, the advantage with Brad is no one's at camp to see him do it. So he actually gets to keep his a complete secret. And he can sneak off in the middle of the evening and see what's going on with this particular advantage. That's good. Brad's alone. He needs some help. I truly think he just isn't blending with the rest of the team. He needs the assistance that this advantage might cover. So on to the third tribe, on to Luvu, who's the blue team. Blue team's been doing fantastic this season. They're strong. They've been winning some competitions. They're still full strength. Well, let's see if that continues on. We've got, as we get over to Luvu, Sydney is talking to basically the rest of the tribe except for Nasir. See the comparison here? One tribe we've got everyone except Brad. The other tribe we've got everyone but Nasir. God, it's so dangerous not to be hanging out with the rest of the people in your tribe. I don't quite get it. And it's not working well for Nasir because Sydney is telling Danny and Deshaun and the rest of the tribe that Nasir came to her in the middle of the night to say that he wanted Donnie out. This is why you don't let the rest of the tribe talk without you being there. Now, I like Nasir. I said in the cast preview, I liked him. I think he was one of my top choices, but I think he's been playing just a little too hard. He did it in episode number 1. He kind of got called out on it. He's lucky he survived that one. And at this point now, he's approached Sydney in the middle of the night. He's suggested that we need to get rid of Danny. Well, she goes right to the rest of the tribe and kind of poisons the well, throws him under the bus, is telling everyone, saying, Danny, he wants you gone. He's ready to get you out of here. It's tough. And I gotta say, again, being a short season, I feel like a lot of people are playing a little too hard this season, a little too aggressively. We as viewers see everything happening a little faster. I think out in the island, it's got to feel just like an accelerated game right now. So maybe that's part of it. But I just feel like he's playing just a little too hard. I also don't know why Nasir would be telling Sydney who he wants as his target before they've even had the immunity idol competition or the challenge competition. They haven't lost anyone yet, and there's always a possibility they're not going to lose anyone again this week or this day cycle or whatever it is. So to start throwing names out there, it just seems dangerous because you don't really know who you can or can't trust. And as we see, he shouldn't be trusting Sydney because we see a flashback and we see this conversation that Sydney's referencing where he's telling her, saying, look, we got to get him out. But here's what else happens. Nasir also tells Sydney, says, look, once we get Danny out, Deshaun, he's nice and sweet. I don't think we need to do anything. We shouldn't have to worry about him once Danny is gone. Well, that's not what Sydney tells the rest of the tribe. Sydney tells everyone else. She puts her own spin on it. We'll just call it that instead of lying. She tells everyone else that Nasir said that once Danny's gone, Deshaun is going to be so desperate that he'll come crawling to them for assistance and try to work with them. Again, she's really throwing Nasir under the bus. She continues to pile on. She's saying, yeah, Nasir also said that it'd be the biggest blindside ever. Oh, and Heather, he said, you're a lunatic. We don't even have to worry about you anyway because you're just crazy. You're a lunatic. She really is throwing it. She's adding on. She's piling on. She's doing everything she can to villainize Nasir, which I get. It's kind of one of those things. If someone else is a bigger target than you don't have to worry about. So she's setting Nasir up for the fall. They better hope they don't lose the competition this week. Nasir better hope that. All right. Finally, with all that being said, we've had 2 tribes find this new secret advantage. Who's going to be the person on the third tribe on Luvu to find it? Well, it's Sydney. She gets through throwing Nasir under the bus. She goes back to camp and she finds the clue itself. So she also has, and it's her secret. No one else sees her at the time. So now she also owns the third part. She's also going on an adventure into the separate island this evening to see what kind of advantage she can get. All right, back at Ua, we see everyone looking for an immunity idol and desperately looking everywhere. I guess as long as everyone else is doing it, you can do it and not get in any kind of trouble. That's one of those kind of domino effects. As soon as the first couple of people start looking, everyone's going to do it. Well, we don't know who started it, but it doesn't really matter at this point because they're all looking for the idols. But then we find out that that Brad has actually already gone out or previously has discovered the same triple immunity idol clue that Xander has on the other tribe, on the Yase tribe. So he's already found that one. It's interesting. Survivor's using a lot of flashbacks, at least this episode. They did a lot of talking about conversation, then flashing back to the actual what happened. Well, in this case, everyone's looking for the idol, and then we find out that it doesn't matter because it's already been found anyway, and it doesn't matter. But here's what's interesting. Brad has found this triple immunity idol. So now he's got the advantage of this secret trip to the island. He also has found this 1/3 of the triple immunity idol. He's got a lot of things working for him. He has working against him the relationship and the tribe itself. But we do find out, and I'm not sure I really was aware of this before tonight's conversation. He feels tightest with Jeannie. That's who he feels like his true alliance partner is. And so as a result of that tightness, he ends up telling Jeannie. I think Jeannie's actually there when he finds the triple immunity idol type deal. So he tells her about it, which is fine if they're truly that tight. Sometimes you have to trust someone. The problem is Brad doesn't stop there. Not only does Jeannie know, but now he's also told Shant, who he feels also is part of their little group within that particular tribe. So he's told Shant it very well could cost him his effect, because not only does he tell her that he found this 1/3 part of the immunity idol, but he also tells her about the secret trip he's making this evening, how he's going to get that power as well. He's giving her a lot of information. He's too trusting, and it looks like it very well could cost him, because at this point, Shan's got a big decision to make. Does she try to evict the guy who has all the power and get that power out of the tribe before it gets played? Or does she hope and trust that if she's as tight as Brad thinks he is with her, that she lets him stick around and use that power maybe to help her out, get a little bit further down the road? The big decision that we have to see made. But he's told her. So again, Brad's put a little bit of his survivor life into Shant's hands and his trusting of her. So on to the midnight rendezvous. All three people get on a boat. Brad makes a big deal about putting paddles and stuff under a blanket, so it looks like he's asleep on the beach. I can't believe these castaways are sleeping on the beach, that they haven't built a little bit more of a shelter. But again, with only 26 days, maybe they don't think it's worth the effort. So we see Tiffany and Brad and Sydney, all three showing up on the island, their little setup there in the middle of the night. And the decision they have to make. Remember in episode 1, we had the protect your vote or risk your vote. Very similar gameplay procedures, except this time it's choose a tarp or steal a vote. And so here's how it works. If all three castaways choose to choose a tarp, if all three make the same decision about the tarp, then all three are going to get a tarp for their tribes, which means they get to go back, and I assume it shows up and you're the hero that you won a tarp for the tribe. So if everyone picks tarp, fantastic. If, on the other hand, everyone picks steal a vote, then not only does no one get a steal a vote, but all three of them lose their vote at their next tribal council. Dangerous situation. And if it's a split decision, if two people say steal a vote, one says protect the tarp, well, the person or choose a tarp, the person who chooses a tarp gets nothing. They don't lose a vote. They don't gain a vote. They also don't gain a tarp. Nothing happens whatsoever. But the two people who pick steal a vote, or the one person who picks steal a vote, they get to steal a vote at their next tribal council. We weren't real sure if it's only the next tribal council or it extends for up until there's 6 people left. I'll have to do a little more checking into that. But it's, again, a variation on this prisoner's dilemma game theory idea that if you all agree one way, you're all okay. If you all agree with the aggressive approach, then all of y'all are hurt because you all lose the votes. If you got a split decision, the ones who are aggressive get the votes, and the people who aren't don't get a vote at all. It's really fun watching the outcome. And I actually paused the episode, just sat there and thought, what would I do? And it really depends so much on your relationships, your situation back at your tribe, how safe you feel. Do you think you really need that extra vote? Or are you willing to risk it? And how would that affect your game? So what do? All you have to do, here's the thinking on it. All you have to do is convince one person to take the tarp. As long as that happens, then you could steal a vote without fear, because as long as one person chooses a tarp, you'll get that steal vote and you're good to go. And so as a result of that, Sydney is really trying to convince Tiffany that she's got to choose to protect the tarp. She's telling Tiffany, saying, oh, there's only 4 of y'all. If you were to lose a vote, then there's only 3 votes, and two votes decide who goes home. You've got to choose the tarp. There's no way you can risk your vote like that, is there, Tiffany? So again, if she can convince Tiffany to take the tarp, then she can turn around and steal the vote instead. So she's doing a hard sell on Tiffany for that, and Tiffany's kind of backing off a little bit, but she says that, and then try to make people feel better that she's trying to convince Tiffany to take a tarp. She says, yeah, I don't want to risk my vote either, so I'll probably also go for the tarp. I'm not going to try to steal a vote. I'd rather have a tarp. So I'll do the same thing as you, Tiffany, which I don't believe for a second. I absolutely think if she thought Tiffany was selecting a tarp, Sydney's going for that steal a vote. I just absolutely believe that. But she says that, and Tiffany, I'm getting more and more props for Tiffany in the way she struggles a little here and there, especially in the competitions, but she also comes up with some brilliant moves. And I feel in this case, she made an amazing move because she flipped it on Sydney. As soon as Sydney mentions that she may take the tarp as well, Tiffany immediately jumps in and says, well, look, here's the thing. If you're going for the tarp, then Brad and myself, we can both pick the steal a vote. We'll take the vote. We don't have to worry about losing the vote. And so, yeah, thank you, Sydney. Appreciate you doing that. That's fantastic. Suddenly, by saying that, she's giving Sydney a valid reason to choose. She's giving Sydney a valid reason why she would choose to steal a vote, even though Sydney's tried to say, it's too much of a risk for you to ever do, Tiffany. Well, now Tiffany's saying, no, actually it works to my advantage if you're going to take the tarp. So I think Tiffany did a fantastic job of basically convincing Sydney that she actually was going to risk her vote and to steal a vote as opposed to playing it safe. So we've got that. So what are the results? Well, with Brad, there was never really any doubt, I don't think. Brad, sure enough, has chosen to steal a vote, and so he's excited about that. Sydney, she isn't willing to call Tiffany's bluff. So she's going to go for the tarp, just as she mentioned. Now, she says, I'm not going to get that tarp. I know that Brad at least is going to steal a vote, so I'm not getting anything, but I just can't take the chance that Tiffany also is going to steal a vote. And if I go the other direction, then we all lose it. And she doesn't want to risk losing her vote. So even though she knows she's not getting that tarp, she makes that decision. So it gets down to Tiffany. What's Tiffany going to do? Well, Tiffany in the end decides basically what Sydney said, that she can't risk her vote. And so Tiffany as well says, I'll just go with the tarp. No harm, no foul. I don't lose my vote. I don't get one, but at least I don't lose my vote. So what does that all mean? It means that Tiffany and Sydney get nothing. Brad gets a steal a vote. So Brad has a steal a vote. He's got the part of the triple immunity, or the immunity 3-way idol as well. Now, the problem is he doesn't know if he's actually going to be able to have that immunity idol, because remember, it requires the clue to be found by a person from each of the 3 tribes. They all have to repeat their silly phrase, immunity challenge. So he's worried that he's not going to have a vote at all. But at least short term, he's got a lot of advantages. So let's talk about the challenge itself. First of all, we've got Brad giving his silly little triple immunity phrase he has to give out about broccolis are really just little trees. Xander immediately turns around and says, yeah, well, butterflies are really just dead people talking, something like that. So they know each other has found this clue. Unfortunately, the last tribe, Luvu, hasn't found theirs yet. So both of them are going to lose their votes again for tribal council tonight if they go to tribal council. So on the immunity challenge, basically it consists of one at a time. Each castaway has to swim across a bit of water, cross a rope bridge. Once they've all crossed the rope bridge, they get to shore. They have to dig up one big bag that has a whole bunch of little sandbags in it. From there, they then have to take these sandbags and pitch them up onto some elevated platforms. The first team to get 5 or 6 of these platforms, each with a sandbag on it, wins the challenge. I love how the Survivor does so much with the water and swimming and everything else. So we've got that. And then the big part is just like last week, only the last place team sends someone to a tribal council. We've got 2 teams will be safe. They win a little fruit and everything, but the main thing is that only one team sending someone to tribal council this week. So once again, as the competition starts, Yase, the yellow tribe, starts off in last halfway through as they're going across the rope bridge. Tiffany had a lot of problems with the balance beam last week. Not much better this week. She's holding onto the rope. She never actually falls in, but she's going slow and it takes forever. But eventually they get across, but now they're in last place. But once they get up to the beach and they start throwing those sandbags, suddenly Yase takes over first place. They're looking better than past weeks. So maybe there is a little hope left for them. So they're fighting hard, but eventually Luvu, the blue team, comes back, wins the competition again. So they stay strong. Nasir is safe for another week. He better be very grateful that his team won this week. So we've got that. And the Yua tribal, and then finally Yase, they don't come in last. They come in second place, so they're safe as well, which is important. They needed to stop the bleed. If they'd gone down from 4 people to 3, it would have been a little tough. Now, here's what's interesting. The person that really seemed to win the competition, or at least come in second for Yase, was Xander. Xander, the person that the 3 ladies are really probably intent on getting out. Once it comes to the next tribal council, what are they going to do? Are they going to go ahead and boot him, or are they going to respect what he can do to help the tribe out? I think they still boot him. But we'll see. All right, so what does that mean? It means that UA is the final team left. They're going to be going to tribal council tonight. The 2 people right off the bat that look like they're at risk, JD and Brad. One of those 2 is probably in trouble. All right, so as soon as we get back to the campsites, we've got Brad is targeting JD. He's talking to Jeannie saying, we got to do Brad. Well, I mean, we've got to do JD. We just got to get him out of here. He knows it's probably one. I don't know. I was going to say he knows it's one or the other. I don't think Brad has any clue that anyone's targeting him. He's thinking JD is the easy target at this point. But we do have Shant. Shant's been doing a pretty good job. She's think about it. She's tight with Brad. She's kind of tight with JD as well. Both these guys have some powers, some advantages. Well, Shant finds out about JD's power because she catches him walking back from out in the woods. She sees a little bit of slip of paper in his waistband, and I don't know if she calls him out or he just knows it. She sees it, so he says, I'm going to come clean with you. So he tells her about his extra vote that he won way back in episode 1 a couple of weeks ago. And Mitch said, yeah, I'm coming clean. And she says, no, you're not coming clean. You got caught. So he tells Shant and he tells Ricard as well. They're both a little chapped that he didn't already tell them about, that he didn't trust the 2 of them with that information. I don't blame them. I wouldn't. The rules of Big Brother, the rules of Survivor, to some degree are the same. You don't give away information that you don't have to give away. We've seen too many examples already this season of people who were too trusting with some of the people they talk to. So JD, I don't blame you at all, my friend, but now he's paying the price because they're saying, yeah, we just don't know if we can trust you, JD. So we have a little conversation after that. Shan's and JD's apologizing and saying, look, I should have trusted you, but it's hard to do out here. We've got Shant really wants JD out at this point because she feels like she just can't trust him at all. Ricard saying, no, I don't trust him either, but I also don't trust Brad, and I think I want him out even more. So we'll see how these two seem like kind of the swing votes at this point in time. It looks like Jenny will probably be somewhat loyal to Brad, but Shant and Ricard, they're going to be the deciding votes, I do think, this week. Now, here's what's interesting. JD's really feeling bad. He's feeling like he's broken some trust with Shant and Ricard. He's trying to go a little above and beyond to repair that relationship. He actually gives his extra vote that he has won, gives it to Shant and says, here, hold on to it. This is yours. You can babysit it, whatever, just to prove that I'm not going to try to do anything, that we're working together. That's dangerous. Just because you give it to someone, I don't know that you're ever going to get it back, JD. We'll see what happens with that. But he gives her the advantage to hold on to, just so she develops a little more trust in him. Shant, again, she's in an amazing position. She's got two different people with advantages. Both think they can trust her. She's got to decide one way or the other. And we get a little spiel from her talking about a confessional about how hard it is, some family stuff that went on, and how hard it is to choose between two people. So I will say, as for Shant, I don't think that she anything she's doing is personal. She doesn't want to have to get either one of those out, but it's a game, and we all understand that. And on to the tribal council. JD and Brad, once again, very obvious targets. Lots of talk about trust and lost trust, misplaced trust. They call them crystals, but it's all about who do you trust and who do you not trust in here. I did hear a little interesting mention. Ricard talks about how he doesn't really trust Jeannie. And Jeannie's saying, yeah, it's after the very first week. I don't know that I really realized Jeannie's one that had cast that kind of rogue vote to boot Ricard in the very first week. She was, as we find out now. So we got a little mistrust there, but especially it's about JD and Ricard and JD and Shant and just a whole lot of concerns about trust. But when it comes down to a vote, it turns out by a 3-1 vote. Remember, Brad can't vote because he lost it until the third part of that immunity is found. So by a 3-1 vote, Brad goes home. Yeah, Brad, the rancher from Wyoming, I think, is heading out the door with some advantages in his pocket as well. I hate to lose him. I just don't think he gelled with the rest of the team, but it is what it is. Now, here's what's interesting, too. I mentioned that Brad and Jeannie kind of had a little bit of a tight partnership, it seems like. Well, Jeannie cast the vote for JD. She's the only one that did so. I think that's going to hurt her in the long run. It's going to make it very easy for the rest of this tribe to kind of gang up on her for the next competition. So she's got to be a little careful at this point in time. But Brad's gone. Big question at this point, what happens to his advantages? Do they get hidden back out again? I think so. Shant knew about these. So as a result, I think Shant and Jeannie both are going to be looking all over this island, or at least they're part of the island, looking for these advantages once they've been seeded out, or advantage, the triple immunity, once it's hidden back out there. So I expect to see a lot of searching going on next week. So here's another question I've got before we shut down, because I know I'm going a little long here. So far, no one has rolled their safety die. Remember, you can roll a die. If you end up with the one face that gives you safety, then you're safe. So a 1 in 6 chance. But no one has rolled their die so far. Why? If I'm Brad last night, you can't vote anyway. So why not roll your dice? Because remember, if you roll a die and you roll safety, great. If you don't, then you lose your vote. So I'm thinking, if I don't have a vote anyway, why not roll a die just in case? But he doesn't do that. And I need to find out, and if any of y'all know, let me know. Is rolling that die a one-time only thing? Once you roll it, you lose the opportunity to do it on down the road. Or can you not use the die if you don't have a vote to risk in the first place? Or was it just that Brad was so completely oblivious to the blind side that was getting ready to hit him that he didn't even think to roll his die? I'm not sure what it is. Maybe we'll find out more as we go into the season. But there you have it. We've lost now our fourth house guest. We've lost our fourth castaway. We're down to 14 people left. It's going fast, my friends. It's going to be exciting next week. We'll see what happens. We still have Yase has four team members, so that's the minimal. I expect to see another week of the 3 tribes potentially working independently from each other. But at one point, I expect to see some twists coming up, a merge, some combinations of some sort, some swaps. Who knows what's going to happen? But until then, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. I will be back next week to talk about episode 4 of Survivor. Until then, cheers, my friends. SKD 143. Bye.